Welcome to Popcorn Planet.
Hey up everyone, it's me, Steph the Alternate, your nerdy alternative. Yes, I am continuing with the Popcorn Planet Steph the Alternate takeover whilst Andy is still on holiday. Hi Andy, if you're still watching, the channel's still up somehow and still alive. Yay! But with that being said, yes, oh my goodness, it seems like there has been a breakthrough in the Idaho quadruple murder mystery situation. A suspect has been arrested, and in about 25 minutes time there is going to be a press conference. I am expecting more details to be exposed. What the deuce is going on now? How did they catch him? Like, to be fair, like, how did they suspect it was this dude in the first place? Before we jump into all of that, though, do be aware that if you love this kind of content, then what are you waiting for? Make sure you click on that subscribe button, click the notification bell to also be notified when we do go live or upload a video, like this video, and comment down below what do you think to this development. If you want to go one step further, you can join today for as little as $5.99 a month and become a Popcorn Planeteer, so you get even more exclusive bonus material from Andy himself. And do you know what? Because it's me. Hi, I've got my own YouTube channel, youtube.com/Steph the Alternate. I'm your nerdy alternative to news and pop culture on the daily, served with a little bit of sass and gobbiness. Today's video that I released about a couple of hours back, Meghan Markle hates the Netflix series. Yeah, reportedly she ain't happy with how it turned out. Why? What are the details? Well, head on over to my channel to find out more. With that being said, let's get up to speed in terms of what's actually happened. And this was only released like a couple of hours ago. So police in Pennsylvania have arrested a 28-year-old man in the killings of the 4 young students in Moscow, Idaho. They arrested Bryan Kohberger. Hopefully I've pronounced that right. He was arrested in Chestnut Hill Township in the Pocono Mountains region of Pennsylvania. He was scheduled to appear in extradition hearing next week, and the police in Moscow, Idaho, the news conference is scheduled in just under 25 minutes time, so we will be going live there as soon as it starts. But yeah, they have charged him with the murder in connection to the brutal slayings of the 4 University of Idaho college students who were found completely just stabbed overnight in a home near their campus last month. Now, let me keep it 100 here with you guys. Have kept an eye on this story in terms of the developments. And one of the reasons why I kind of shied away from actually reporting on this until there was like some proper concrete news is that it seemed to somehow go the way a little bit to what happened last year with Gabby Petitio, right? All these conspiracy theories that were going on, right? And I was just like, do you know what? I want to hang fire until something concrete actually happens in terms of an actual development in the case. And oh my goodness, the arrest and charging of the murder of the 4 students is definitely somewhat concrete and certainly a development that I can get on board with and report to you guys here for the Popcorn Planet community. Now, if you are a little bit unawares as to what's going on, right? What is the Idaho murder case all about? What are the details? Well, let me enlighten you on all of that. So, this all happened 6 weeks ago. It's as if it happened yesterday, guys. Like, oh my goodness, has time flown by like no one's business. They were found on 13th of November in their home in Moscow, Idaho. As I've just mentioned, they have arrested a suspect, taken him into custody, Bryan Christopher Kohberger, aged 28. Idaho officials ready to do this news conference in just over 20 minutes' time. But what actually happened? So police responded to a report of an unconscious person that they received around about 11:58 a.m. on 13th of November, which was a Sunday. There, some of the Moscow Police Department members found all of the students dead on the second and third floors of the home. So this whole frenzied attack, it seems like it was a frenzied attack in terms of details I've read. And this horrific slaying, it just happened on so many levels, right? It was just like, it seemed to be all over the place and unbelievable. And just one point that's in my head at the moment, guys, is 28 years old? Like, what the hell? Right? It's just, I don't know, like, the suspect, they've arrested him for murder of these 4 slayings, and he's 28 years old. Like, guys, he's like 8 years younger than me. That's just scary that someone that young could, allegedly, innocent till proven guilty, of course, do this. What do you guys think? Let me know in the comments and in the live chat. But going back to this, so Madison Morgan, Kaylee Goncalves, and Zaina Knodel, they were the roommates who lived in the home, whilst the 4th victim, Ethan Chapin, didn't live there, but he was dating Knodel at the time. The 2 other when I can get my teeth back in, the 2 other roommates lived in the home, but they were untouched. Police said that they believed they completely slept through the event, which, I mean, guys, I can sleep through Armageddon, right? Pretty much. But, hey, they slept through it, don't get me wrong. But I'm just like, no tea, no shade. I couldn't sleep through that. Oh, no. I just couldn't. Unless it was a case of he did it whilst they were asleep. But then even then, wouldn't you, not to be too, but wake up to it and then start noising out and screaming? Like, I don't know. But, thoughts that are going through my head, you're getting unfiltered. Good luck to you guys with that. On Saturday night, police said that Chapin and Knodel were at a party at a Sigma Chi house. Probably butchered that. I butcher English at the best of times. I mean, come on. Me trying to do another language is nigh on impossible. On the University of Idaho campus, they returned home at 1:45 a.m. on Sunday, that 13th of November. Morgan and Goncalves were at a bar called the Corner Club in downtown Moscow that night. Only recently I'd seen that footage was released of them being in that bar. So, yeah. A lot of stuff has been kind of coming out, but it's been fueling a lot of theories here in terms of what happened, why it happened, who it could have been, all that lot, right? They left the bar, stopped at a food truck, and then also returned home at about 1:45 a.m., the police said. So around about the same time as Chapin and Knodel had returned back. Now, investigators are confident about the accuracy of Morgan and Goncalves' reported whereabouts throughout the night, because witnesses say that they saw both of them at the club, and it's described as a very, very popular kind of nightclub situation for university students. Very much popular there, and video footage from a live stream confirmed their visit to the food truck. Leaked screenshots allegedly taken from the surveillance cameras shared widely on the internet this month appeared to show Morgan and Goncalves at the nighttime venue called the Corner Club at around 1:30 in the morning, 1:30 on the 13th of November. So this is why investigators are very confident about the accuracy of where Morgan and Goncalves were, because it was pretty much, how do you put this, documented in terms of video and screenshots and all that lot. It was pretty much documented what they were doing, right? Sign of the times, right, guys? So, which in this case, Good thing, right? Moscow police seem to recognise that leaked images were circulated in an update that they shared on 27th of December, so only 3 days ago. At the time, the department said they couldn't verify the authenticity, the legitness of anything related to this particular case that have not been released through the official channels. They said there have been numerous inquiries from members of the public and media to verify digital media published online. Any picture or video provided through the official public records request process is authentic. Though they say, however, once a record is released, we can no longer verify its authenticity as we do not know if anything has been altered, which is fair game, right? That's fair to say. If it's not released through the official channels and it's an unofficial release of, let's say, a video or a leaked image or whatever, right? It's not being properly vetted. It's not being like properly investigated to confirm its legitness, right? So yeah, it could have been altered. It could have been photoshopped or whatever. You don't know, right? So it's a good point. It's a good point to make. They say detectives are aware of videos distributed by local businesses. Maybe local businesses have been a bit naughty there, maybe. But authorities have acknowledged that there are gaps in the timeline of Chapin and Knodl's evening, the details of which are somewhat unclear. They say detectives continue investigating what occurred from approximately 9 p.m. on November 12th to 1:45 a.m. on November 13th, when Ethan Chapin and Zaina Knodl were believed to be at the Sigma Chi house. Guys, let me know how to pronounce that in the live chat, because that is really proper doing my head in that. On the University of Idaho campus at 735 Nez Perce Drive. Moscow police said on the 5th of December news release, any interactions, contacts, direction and method of travel or anything abnormal could add context to what occurred. So the thing is, with something like this, right, it's a case of no matter how big, no matter how small even, yeah? If you've got something, you go to police and you tell them. Even if you think it's nothing, yeah? You do it anyway, because you might think it's nothing, but actually it could be the thing that breaks the case, or it could be the thing that makes the case move forward more, right? And what you think is normal and nothing, they may think, actually, that's abnormal for this person. So actually that's given a new perspective. That's given us new information we can run with. So yeah, the two surviving roommates, the two that slept through it, wow, they are lucky as hell. Why they weren't touched, maybe we'll find out. Now that this suspect has been arrested, if it was him that did it. Again, innocent until proven guilty, guys. So the two surviving roommates who lived in the house were out separately in Moscow, and they returned home by 1 a.m. on the 13th of November, according to police. Neither of the surviving roommates were publicly identified for weeks after the event took place, until the duo, Dylan Mortensen and Bethany Funk, shared a letter at the memorial service earlier on this month. The timing of multiple calls to the cell phone of Kaylee Conglave's ex-boyfriend places the event sometimes after 3 a.m. The coroner said that they were all likely asleep. Some had defensive wounds, and each person, they were knifed multiple times, but there was no evidence of SA, police have said. The weapon, which police described as a large fixed blade knife, hasn't been found. However, perhaps they may have found it now that they've arrested this suspect. We will hopefully find out in the live conference, which we're expecting it to start in about 12 minutes time, so do stay tuned. I'm just doing a little bit of a recap for those that may not be too familiar with this case as we're waiting. But yeah, former FBI agent and retired profiler Mary Ellen O'Toole, who's not part of the investigation, so let's be very clear on that, told CBS News it was highly likely the offender left a lot of physical evidence behind and may have even cut themselves as they were, you know, doing the whole stabby thing with the four victims. I've got to be very careful in terms of what I say sometimes. YouTube trigger words, please bear that in mind. They say, Mary says, Mary Ellen O'Toole says, it was likely a pretty sturdy knife, she said, calling it a very effective cutting instrument, and one the offender likely had experience using. As a result, O'Toole said the offender probably would not get rid of this weapon. So, hopefully with what this retired FBI agent profiler is saying there, this arrest here of this suspect, it could be that Bryan Kohberger did leave so much DNA evidence and he did keep the weapon so that they're able to make this arrest and be like, yeah, you did it, dude. We got you bang to rights. Booyah, you're charged. Hopefully this FBI retiree profiler is right in her assessment. Again, we'll find out in 10 minutes time, 10 minutes, T-minus 10 minutes and counting for the live conference here. Now, Moscow Police Chief James Fry said the 911 call was made using one of the surviving roommates' phones, but he would not confirm the caller's identity. Probably for the best, otherwise they probably would be hounded for more information. So, yeah, fair play. In a later statement, police said the 911 dispatcher spoke to multiple people, including Mortensen, Funk, and people police identified as other friends before Moscow police actually arrived on the scene. On 29th of December, Moscow police reported that remediation work would begin in the home on the 30th, so today, that work would include removing potential biohazards and other harmful substances used to collect evidence. The home will be returned to its property management company when the remediation work is complete. There was no estimate for when that would be. And again, that goes back to, Mary Ellen O'Toole, the FBI retiree and profiler, turning around and saying, most likely he left DNA evidence and kept the weapon, doing this whole remediation on the house today. And on that same day, charge this dude, Bryan Kohberger, with murder, would indicate to me, in my opinion, conspiracy theory, whatever, that, yeah, he left evidence in the home. They found it. They charged him without question, without hesitation. That was it. It was game over, right? Again, innocent until proven guilty. These are all theories at the moment, based on this major concrete development that's happened in the case. But see where I'm coming from? I don't know. The timing of it all, maybe. But who were the victims? Because, we're quick to remember the monster, but, the victims need to be remembered. So we've got Madison Morgan, age 21, of Coeur d'Alene, Idaho, was a senior at the university, majoring in marketing. Kaylee Conglaves, age 21, of Rathdrum, Idaho, was also a senior with a major in general studies. The two, they met as sixth graders, and they were best friends. Kaylee's father, Steve Conglaves, told a crowd of hundreds who attended a vigil for them. He says they went to high school together, then they started looking at colleges, they came here together, they eventually got into the same apartment together, and in the end, they died together in the same room, in the same bed. And I tell you something, like, reading that again, it just, that hits home a little bit more, doesn't it? Really, really does. It's just heartbreaking, right? Ben Morgan, Madison's father, said at the vigil she was his only child, so everything she ever did was such a big deal. Talking about Maddie was his pride, Morgan said, and the two loved attending music concerts together. Zaina Knodel, age 20, of Post Falls, Idaho, was a marketing major and a member of the Phi Beta Phi. The Pi Beta Phi, I think I got that pronunciation right. The Pi Beta Phi sorority. That's one thing, actually, just as a little side note, that I don't quite understand in terms of American culture when it comes to, like, colleges and universities, that you have these sorority houses. I mean, I know about them through American movies, but still don't quite understand them. But just a side note there. Ethan Chapin, a 20-year-old freshman from Mount Vernon in Washington, was a member of Sigma Chi. He majored in recreation, sport, and tourism management. according to the school. Ethan Chapin was part of a set of triplets with a brother and sister, said his mother, Stacey Chapin. The family always tried to eat dinner together when time allowed, she said, which is really, really good for families. I'm from an Italian family, a very, very large Italian family. And, you know, our culture in Italy is, you know, as a family, you sit at the dinner table and you eat together. And I think that's really, really good kind of way to continue maintaining the family bond and a healthy, like, family relationship, right? And that togetherness through food is very, very important for our Italian culture. So it's quite nice to hear this being talked about here, you know. It's just really, really sad that, you know, Ethan is not going to be part of those family dinners anymore. Which personally hits home for me because of, you know, my Italian culture, you know, being at that table, right? And you sat there with family, but there's someone missing and they're always going to be forever missing. They're never going to be at that family table again. It's a literal physical reminder that they're not coming back. They're gone. And so, yeah, it's, but described, the mother, Stacey Chapin, described spending countless hours taking the kids to various sporting events when they were younger. The triplets chose the University of Idaho because they wanted a small town and a beautiful campus with a thriving Greek system, she said. In a letter written by the two surviving roommates, Mortensen and Funk, and read out loud by the pastor, they called Chapin and Canodal's relationship unstoppable and perfect before praising the foursome, saying, "You're all gifts to this world in your own special way, and it just won't be the same without you," Funk said. Now, what have the authorities learned up to present before, you know, this arrest and charge with Bryan here? So they're saying, you know, they have frequently shared updates throughout. Release of detailed information, though, has been rare to preserve the integrity of the investigation, so not to taint it, because they need to make sure that, you know, when, you know, they charge this monster and they arrest him, that it's watertight and that everything is being done by the book. You don't want a monster like this to get off on a technicality. Like, no freaking way on that one. Dozens of members of the Moscow Police Department, FBI, and Idaho State Police have been involved in the investigation, and Governor Brad Little directed up to $1 million in state emergency funds for the ongoing investigation. On 20th of December, Moscow Police Chief James Fry said the department has so far released about 16,500 tips concerning the slayings, including hundreds of tips about a stalker that Kaylee Conglaze was rumoured to have. And I wonder, in this regard, if Bryan Kohberger potentially was a stalker that Kaylee was talking about here. Investigators looked extensively into these reports, but they said on the 22nd of November they hadn't been able to verify or identify a stalker up to that point. In addition to the tips called in, police have been working their way through more than 113 pieces of physical evidence from the home, which hopefully there's DNA evidence to link Bryan to these slayings, as well as looking at approximately 4,000 photographs and multiple 3D scans that crime scene investigators took, which, oh my goodness, like technology these days in terms of like investigating crimes. Wow. Like, I didn't even know they could take 3D photos. Like, I just thought they still took like 2D photos from a freaking Polaroid and, you know, jobs are good and right. No! I learned in this investigation that those guys do 3D photos now. Like, wow. That's insane. But it all helps, right, to try and crack the case. On 20th of December, police said they had conducted over 250 interviews. On the 6th of December, police said that the beginning the following day, they'd be removing some of the victims' personal belongings from the house and releasing them to their families as they were no longer needed for the investigation. The house remained an active crime scene. On the 30th of November, authorities moved 5 cars from the scene so that they could continue processing evidence. they had seized contents of 3 dumpsters, but said no useful evidence was found. Police put out requests for all outside surveillance from several sites from 3 a.m. to 6 a.m. on 13th of November, on the Sunday, the morning the students were killed. There was just so many updates in regards to this, but I'm acutely aware we are now 1 minute to this press conference. So what I'm going to do at this point is I'm going to stop providing you with the update, and we're going to go live in a moment. Now, if I just give 1 moment. Yeah, I see you, Andy. Right, let me get that sorted now. Yeah, guys, I see it. Hang on. Okay. If you just give me 1 moment, guys. I'm just sending the invite to Lewis. And yeah, let's do this. Oh, and Zoom is just installing updates. Brilliant. Had to do that. Oh my goodness. Right, Lewis is coming in a moment, guys. I'm just going to double check everything is Gucci. Yes, it is. So let's go here. All right. So if you just give me 1 moment, Lewis from Nerd Report is going to come in. Lewis, if you're still watching, I'm sending the Zoom link via boss level. So in we go. You're welcome, Andy. You're welcome, mate. Okay, so still chatting at the moment. The press conference hasn't started as of yet. Yeah, Jazzy B, OMG, Zoom always does that at the most inconvenient times. Tell me about it. She's the freaking bad. Tell me about it. Oh, Mama Cascraft says they are fab. You have a great squad these days, Andy. If I do say so, me sen. If I do say so, me sen. Oh my goodness. Lewis says he's ready. Well, I've sent you the link, so it's on boss level, mate. Boss level. Get you sent on boss level. Let's get your insight, because I've kept a weather eye on it, but Lewis has really been in the weeds on all of this, so we can get his insight as well, which is going to be very, very useful. So with that being said, hopefully this is working. Yes!
Hey,
Lewis
what's
in
up,
the
Steph?
house!
Hey, I would say good morning. It's a bitter, sweet suspect caught. I've been covering this case for a bit. Want to shout out to Brandon and Julie, who are helping me this morning. And I believe the press conference is actually live right now. I'm getting reports.
Yes, it is. Let's go live now. It's just started.
So we've received over 19,000 tips, and we've conducted over 300 interviews.
There we go.
To recap this case, on the evening of November 12th, Kaylee and Madison arrived home at about 1:56 a.m. after visiting a local bar and street food
You'll
vendor.
need to put on your own
Ethan
thing
and
for
Xana
it.
were at the Sigma Chi house before arriving home around 1:45 a.m.
Okay.
The 2 surviving roommates had also been in the community but returned around 1 a.m. On the morning of November 13th, a 911 call was made at 11:58 a.m. reporting an unconscious person at the residence. The call came from inside the home from one of the surviving roommates' cell phones. Moscow police responded and found 2 victims on the 2nd floor and 2 victims on the 3rd floor. On November 17th, autopsies were conducted, and the Latah County coroner confirmed the identity of the 4 victims. The cause and manner of death was homicide by stabbing. Some had defensive wounds, and each had been stabbed multiple times. These murders have shaken our community, and no arrest will ever bring back these young students. However, we do believe justice will be found through the criminal process. This was a very complex and extensive case. We developed a clear picture over time, and we stand assured that the work is not done, but be assured the work is not done. This has just started. Since November, we have remained laser focused on pursuing every lead in our pursuit of justice for the victims and their families.
They
I
really have
recognize
as well.
the frustration with the lack of information that's been released. However, providing any details in this criminal investigation might have tainted the upcoming criminal prosecution or alerted the suspect of our progress. We will continue to provide as much information as we can as the process moves forward. Today, I want to specifically thank our dedicated Moscow Police Department detectives, patrol officers, the Idaho State detectives, the Idaho State troopers, and their crime lab technicians and scientists, and the Federal Bureau of Investigation for the resources and personnel to conduct this massive investigation.
Yeah, because there were 4
It was the
victims, so there
dedication
would have
of
been a
them and the
lot of
persistence
evidence to
and the
go
numerous
through.
hours
A shiz
that
ton.
led to an arrest. Fortunately, these highly skilled people worked together as a cohesive team to solve this case. I also want to thank our community and the nation. Over the past 6 weeks, I've been continually reminded of how much our community cares. Locally, public support has been exceptional with kind words, food for investigators, and letters of support. You will never know how much your words of encouragement help us through these trying times. I appreciate each of you and each of your kindness. Agencies and individuals from across the nation have reached out to us to express their support to this department. I'm reminded how our Moscow community, our families, and the nation has been impacted by this daily. Finally, I do want to thank our media partners for the help. You kept this in the news, you helped us with tips, you kept things going, and we truly appreciate that. And you are the product of those 19,000 tips that we received, which is an impressive number.
Booyah.
I would like to invite Bill Thompson, the county prosecutor, up at this time.
It's good that he recognizes that. Not a lot of them do.
Good afternoon, folks. My name is Bill Thompson. I'm the Latah County prosecutor.
I got you a little bit on mute
And
because
it's sad to be here.
you
but
can't hear
happy
me
to be
because
here
I'm
at
on
the same
delay with the
time.
press.
That's cool.
As Chief Fry
Yeah.
indicated, a criminal complaint was filed yesterday here in Latah County, charging the defendant, Mr. Kohberger, with 4 counts of first-degree murder, in addition to felony burglary, which involves entering the residence with the intent to commit the crime of murder. Mr. Kohberger, and let me preface, there is a pending case now in court, and I and my office and the investigators have to live with the restrictions that our Supreme Court places on pretrial publicity. That said, I promise you we will share with you through the court process or otherwise whatever we are allowed to. I just appreciate your patience on that. The factual basis for the charges are summarized in what's called a probable cause affidavit that is on file with the court. According to the rules of the Idaho Supreme Court, that is sealed until Mr. Kohberger is physically back in Latah County and has been served with the Idaho arrest warrant. At that time, we expect that that affidavit will be available to you so you can share the true facts with all of your readers and your watchers and your listeners and all of the people who are interested and really need to know what's going on. So please have patience with us on that. We hope to get that to you as soon as we can. As far as Mr. Kohberger, I can share with you that he is a graduate student at Washington State University and has an apartment residence over in Pullman. He has had an initial appearance in front of a judge in Pennsylvania. He is being held without bond, and the warrant from our magistrate judge here also provides for no bond. We understand that he's scheduled to be back in court in Pennsylvania next Tuesday afternoon, and that a public defender has been appointed for him there. The process at this point is, since he was arrested in another state, he has the opportunity to either waive extradition and return voluntarily to the state of Idaho, Or if he prefers not to waive extradition, then we will initiate extradition proceedings through our governor's office. If we do that, it can take a while for him to get here. So again, I'm asking for your patience and understand that's just the way the system works.
Okay.
Once he gets here, he'll have an initial appearance with our magistrate. They'll deal with issues such as making sure competent counsel is representing him, and the case will be scheduled for further hearings. Your primary source of factual information is going to be the court record, because that's what the Supreme Court says we need to refer you to. So please pay attention to what's going on in court and have people there to watch and hear what's being said. As an attorney, myself and my office, we are limited on what we are allowed by the courts to say outside of the courtroom. So please just work with us. Finally, as the chief indicated, this is not the end of this investigation. In fact, this is a new beginning. You all now know the name of the person who has been charged with these offenses. Please get that information out there. Please ask the public, anyone who knows about this individual, to come forward. Call the tip line. Report anything you know about him to help the investigators and eventually our office and the court system understand fully everything there is to know about not only the individual, but what happened and why. Next, I'll introduce Colonel Ked Wells from the Idaho State Police. Thank you.
Well, good afternoon. My name is Kedrick Wills. I serve as the director of the Idaho State Police and certainly want to express our appreciation for your attendance here today. These tragic murders took 4 young, vibrant lives from our community. Nothing we do can bring them back. The only thing that we can do in law enforcement to honor their memories that we know of is to bring this to a successful conclusion. This has been a very difficult time for the families, the university, the community, and the state of Idaho. However, it is also proven that communities come together in tough times. Certainly appreciate the support of the local community and our national audience that has been following us as our investigators have worked through this case. I'm thankful also to you, the media partners, who have helped keep this case in the forefront that generates the tips and we hope will continue to generate information that will help us to a conclusion of this proceeding. I'd like to express our appreciation on behalf of the Idaho State Police to Chief Fry, his leadership, and the entire Moscow Police Department for the way that they handled this from the very beginning. He directed the right people to the right positions that led us to this conclusion today. I've had the utmost confidence in this investigation and in Chief Fry, as well as in Mr. Bill Thompson and the Latah County Prosecutor's Office, who've been a great partner throughout this. Nothing has deterred the commitment of the investigators who've worked on this case, regardless of the organization they represent. It's been very trying and very difficult, as you know, that it has been on those investigators as they do the tedious work that they're so good at doing. The partnerships is what's led here as well. The partnerships between Moscow Police Department, I'd like to express our appreciation with the Federal Bureau of Investigation, specifically the special agent in charge out of the Salt Lake City Division, Dennis Rice, and also the work that happened in the last 24 hours in Pennsylvania with the arrest with the Pennsylvania State Police and Colonel Evanchik with the Pennsylvania State Police. We appreciate what they've done across the nation to help us as well. As Bill shared, this investigation is far from over. In fact, I appreciate what he shared, that this is not an ending, but rather a new beginning. The difference now is, as he shared, that we are dictated what information we can share by the court process and by laws in our state of Idaho. And so we will share, as he shared, Mr. Thompson is absolutely committed to share everything he can share through the court process. We've got to make sure that we don't get in front of that process. And we really deeply appreciate everybody's support here. The relationships that were forged here and the partnerships that were forged have led to this. And based on that is why we're here today. And we continue to believe that the best way we can honor these 4 lives that have been taken is to make sure that we have a successful outcome here. One of the partnerships that's been forged throughout this is a partnership with the University of Idaho. And on that, I'd like to introduce the president of the University of Idaho, Mr. Scott Green.
That's one thing I've been impressed about, the seamlessness with the how they all
Thank you.
work
Good
together.
afternoon. Scott Green, President, University of Idaho. Today's news of arrest is a welcome one. It's relief to our university, our community, and our extended Vandal family. The outpouring of support over the past 6 weeks helped sustain us during the most trying time. It provided the strength that helped us navigate the international scrutiny visited on our students and employees. We are truly thankful for the compassion and acts of kindness shown to our community. Kindness is contagious, and it provided the light that reclaimed ground lost to evil and darkness. We first want to acknowledge and thank Governor Little for the early promise of financial support that enabled the university to secure our campus and focus on helping our students and our employees in the wake of the crimes. We also appreciate the Idaho State Police and the highly visible security presence that brought comfort and calm to a community shocked and confused by the senseless crimes. We never lost faith that this case would be solved and are grateful for the hard work of the Moscow Police Department and their law enforcement partners. Vast and committed FBI resources brought important expertise to this complex case. Across the board, dedicated, highly competent personnel worked this case to arrest. This crime has nevertheless left a mark on our university, our community, and our state. While we cannot bring back Maddie, Kaylee, Zaina, and Ethan, we can thoughtfully and purposefully carry their legacy forward in the work that we do. Our students come first, and that was proven each and every day of this investigation. We are committed to safely delivering the college town atmosphere, campus experience, and high-touch quality education for which the University of Idaho is known. With time, we will heal. We will move forward together, and we will remain Vandal strong. With that, I'd like to turn it back over to Chief Fry.
So now we will open the floor to questions. However, I want to remind everyone, as Prosecutor Bill Thompson explained, any factual information regarding the arrest of Kohberger is currently sealed per Idaho law and will not be released until he has appeared in an Idaho court. Please formulate your questions accordingly. I recognize there are a lot of questions, and I will try to answer as many of them as I can. Is there an evergreen or Argonaut reporter?
There's probably not much they can say. They've got to protect the integrity of the
Lauren
case.
Patterson, Northwest Public Broadcasting,
So
Spokane
come off
Public
on
Radio.
100%.
I realize the records are sealed. I guess I'm not too familiar with how it works, but can you tell us what tip, what lead, what piece of evidence really led you all the way from Idaho to the suspect in Pennsylvania?
As I've said in the past, that's part of our investigation, and we won't be releasing that this time. We will have those answers. We'll have them as soon as we can make those available to you.
Then a quick follow-up and a two-parter. Is our community safe, or is law enforcement still on the search for other suspects who might be involved in this attack?
What I can tell you is we have an individual in custody who committed these horrible crimes, and I do believe our community is safe, but we still need to be vigilant, right? We still have talked about this in the past. We always need to be aware of our surroundings and make sure that we're aware of what's going on.
Oh, he's definite. The opinion conspiracy theory, they've got DNA evidence.
Hi, Chief.
They found
How
the weapon
soon
and
into
they
the
got it.
investigation did police
And they think it's
and
one
law
person.
enforcement begin to spot Mr. Kohberger as a potential suspect? And a follow-up, how many tips, if you can say, were specifically related to Mr. Kohberger?
To the tip part, honestly, I can't answer that question, so I'm not even going to speculate on that. On the other part, that's part of our investigation, and it will come out. I'd like the mic to please come right over here.
Thank you. Dana Griffin with NBC News. Can you confirm that Kohberger asked whether or not anyone else had been arrested when he was in custody?
I cannot confirm that, or I'm not sure of that information, but that would still be a part of our investigation.
Did CODIS initially return any hits on this guy?
That's still part of our investigation. That will come out. If we could get somebody over here, please.
And then one final question. Is there any message to the online sleuths who slandered and harassed people who they believed were responsible?
There was a lot of speculation going on, and we've always said from the very beginning that we're the official message that comes out, and to pay attention to what we're putting out there to the press.
It's why we kept away from
I'm
it
Nancy
until there was
Liu
some
with
proper
News
concrete,
Nation,
guys.
and we were over at the house this morning, and you told us that the remediation would begin today. It was suddenly stopped. Can you tell us why?
Yes. The house cleanup has been halted, and that came by a legal request from the court.
That's all you're going to get.
Fox News. Chief, have you identified a motive?
That is part of the investigation, and that will come out as we continue the investigation. But what we still ask is for people to continually send us things in the tip line. We are still looking for more information. We're still trying to build that picture, just like we have stated all along. We're putting all the pieces together, and that will help.
Chief Veronica Miracle with CNN. Any indication that the suspect knew the victims?
That's part of the investigation as well. It won't be something that will come out at this point in time, but as we continue the investigation and as this case goes to trial, that will be brought forth.
Have you spoken to the families? Can you tell us what they've told you today?
Are you talking the victims' families? Yeah, we have reached out to the victim's family as we always do. We've done that daily, and we've continued to have contact with them.
Hey, Nate Sanford, you mentioned earlier that you're still seeking tips about Bryan and that people should still share whatever information they have. Can you speak at all about what specifically people should be reaching out for, like if they know something?
I would say anything and everything. As we've said all along, we know what tips we're looking for.
They stopped the press conference, like on my end, unless you have another link you can share. They didn't stop it. They're just going with
for our case. So we ask that everybody would do that.
Angela Palermo,
4 counts of first-degree murder.
Your department and other investigators on the case took a lot of flack for keeping information close to your chest. Are you glad that you did that, and were you worried about tipping the suspect off?
I will 100% stand behind the way that we handled this investigation. And this all started from day one with our patrol officers arriving on scene, locking down the scene, us calling in the Idaho State Police, us calling in the FBI, and keeping information that was pertinent to this case very, very tight. We want to have a situation where when this goes to trial, there is no doubt that we've done everything right and we've slowed down and we've continued to slow down. We'll continue to do that.
You don't want him getting off on a technicality. No way.
Have you guys found the murder weapon or the Hyundai Elantra?
So we are still looking for all pieces of evidence, but we are still looking for the weapon. And I will say that we have found an Elantra.
Stephanie Becker with CNN. Can you tell what it was like when you got the phone call when the police told you that they had your suspect?
I can tell you, for a lot of law enforcement, it was a fairly sleepless couple of days with as we were leading up to everything that we were doing. But what I can tell you is I have faith in those agencies across the nation. I have faith in our officers. I have faith in the FBI, and they did a great job. But sure, there was some times, even throughout the day, that we were always concerned.
Hi, Chief. Danya back at CBS News. Can you talk a little bit more about the suspect's connection to Pennsylvania?
All I know is that he lives in Pennsylvania.
Chief Guy Tannenbaum from Nonstop Local KHQ in Spokane. More about the Elantra. We saw reports that you mentioned that you recovered an Elantra, but can you specify where that was found? And we know that that was one of the biggest pieces of information you were asking from the public to tip. Were you able to provide information on whether those tips led to this seizure of an Elantra?
To be able to charge
That's
him.
still part of the investigation that will come out in the future.
Because they haven't found the weapon, so how else can they charge him so definite like this? 404.
Chief Glenn Mosley, Idaho Public Radio here in
it's
Moscow.
almost done. Two more questions. I got
Additional
some
police
takes
presence in town and on campus. semesters coming. Is that going to continue?
You will continue to see state troopers in the area. We're talking to Latah County as well. You will see a presence of us that we're always have up on campus. We have assigned officers to that. So you will continue to see a law enforcement presence. I'm going to take 2 more questions.
Hi, Chief. Julie Scott, ABC News. Can you tell us if you eventually
You're a little bit
had
in
a
front of
license plate
me.
number to the Elantra
I've just heard the 2
and
more
how
questions
you
now.
tracked it to Pullman?
That's still part of the investigation that will come out.
Chief, hi, Matt Lovelace with the Murrow College of Communication. I want to ask about Mr. Kohberger as a graduate student at WSU. Are you aware of if he returned to campus after November 13th? And have you had any communication with departments on the WSU campus about his attendance?
So some of that is going to be followed up as we
All right, I'm
continue
ready
our
when you are.
investigation. We'll be asking some of those questions, but that'll come out in the near future. So what I do want to do is I want to thank you all. You really have been the national voice for us. You've given us the opportunity to get many, many tips. And I do appreciate everything you've done, and we'll continue to look forward to working with you in the future on this. So I'd like to thank you for that, and thank you for your time.
Okay, so yeah, that is conference done. Not what I was expecting. However, do you know what? It kind of makes sense that they couldn't release much information. Now, before we jump into it, let me try and catch up with some of your member comments. If there's any that I've missed, again, I'm really, really sorry. I don't have full access to Andy's stream elements, so I'll try and catch as many of your super chats and your member chats as possible. Little Devil, though, has been a member for 6 months. Thank you so much for your continued support, Little Member. For Andy, saying, justice for the Idaho 4, RIP our 4 angels, prayer for the 4's families. Yeah, absolutely. Totally. Pookie Woozy again, another member for 6 months. Thank you so much for your continued support. For Andy, saying Sigma Chi like Sky. Okay, right, Sigma Chi. Right, because one thing, Lewis, that I have never understood about the university system in America is sorority houses. Like, I know of them because of American movies, of course. I mean, but never really got the whole purpose of them. But maybe we discuss that at a different time. Maybe not quite.
Well,
now,
we could discuss it as well. I mean, I was never part of one, but we did see it in. I want to say like movies like Revenge of the Nerds. You know, it's like what I remember. One of the first films to feature that. It's a little club, a little gang, from what I understand. It's just like, hey, I'm cool, I'm part of this group. And you know, the guys meet girls and vice versa. Maybe I'm not too sure what they do, but yeah, you guys don't have them over there. That's interesting.
No way. Sorry, I've just seen a comment here. Brenner of Arcadia. Sorry, Lewis. This is insane. Scary to think this guy was in my backyard. Wow. Small world, right, Brenner of Arcadia? Right, so, guys, we're going to give our hot takes. Before we do so, though, if you haven't done so already and you're loving our coverage so far, you'll want to stick around for more of what we can offer here on Popcorn Planet. So make sure, no matter what you do next, hit that subscribe button, turn the notification bell to all, like this video if you're happy now that a suspect has finally been caught and charged, and comment down below what do you think to it. Also, if you want to go one step further and support the community further, you can join today and become a Popcorn Planeteer for as little as $5.99 a month, where you get exclusive additional content from the man himself, Andy Signore. And Menina is Crazy has also been a member for 6 months. Again, thank you so much for your continued support for Andy, saying, I've been following this and I'm glad that they found someone. I can't imagine the relief that people feel there. Yeah, it's certainly a relief. The one thing that, well, there were 2 things that grabbed my attention. The first one was yeah, we can't give you much information because he's out of state at the moment. As soon as he's been extradited and he comes back to state, then through the official process, we can then start feeding you guys information and more details. So pretty much every single question that we heard from press, it was like the equivalent of no comment, no comment, no comment, which it is frustrating, but then you also have to understand that they've got to protect the integrity of this investigation. And we don't want what happened with, let's say, Cosby, where he got off on a technicality, guys. Insane. So if this dude, Bryan Kohberger, actually did it, the last thing you want is a monster then like that to be back on the streets because he got off on a technicality because the police did not follow everything to the book. So yeah, even though it is a little bit of a frustration that we didn't get much information and it wasn't what I was expecting, it makes sense why they didn't actually give us much information at all. And what do you think, firstly, because this was the first thing that grabbed my attention, what do you think of the chances that Bryan Kohberger's going to fight the extradition or just accept it?
Well, several reports have come out and outside of the press conference, I think actually news outlets have reported it, but again, it could all be rumors, that when he was caught, they heard him say, "Did you arrest anyone else?" So that could mean that he's trying to put a wrench in it or confuse people, cause some kind of chaos, or maybe there are other people involved, which I doubt now after the press conference, because the wording Chief Fry used, that kind of pretty much singled out that's him. There's also a few other things, and I'm sorry if I'm going ahead of myself.
No, go for it, mate. Go for it.
Yeah, I actually got woken up by Jules real early in the morning, and I thought I pick it up. Oh, they got him, and I rolled out of bed and I went on, and I've been on this thing for a while, and I'm both happy and sad because I prefer these beautiful people were still with us. There's no real closure ever with this, but yeah, there's a lot of things like the Honda Elantra, was it?
The Elantra, yeah.
Yeah, the speculation is, they found the car, they found the vehicle.
That's what
and
they said.
Also some people are saying that it was his mom's. I can't confirm that. And it was borrowed. And we were also talking about that, Julie brought up that they could actually separate DNA. There's probably a lot of the red stuff inside the vehicle that they could separate from the victims and him if they were mixed up. So there's a lot of things here. Also, some kind of criminal major this person had. Maybe they were trying to figure out, go inside a mind of an actual ender that starts with an M. I don't want to use the wrong words. You catch my drift, Steph?
Yeah.
So maybe he wanted to have the feeling to better understand enders, people that end people's mindset. That's something. There's going to be a lot of theories. At the end of the day, Chief Frey, thank you, man. Like, you really did a good job. You stayed composed. You were people doubted you. They wanted stuff, but this guy really brought in he brought in the receipts. He brought in what he needed to, and that's a suspect, which is something the Kylie Rodney case in Truckee was lagging.
Yeah.
And I think they've done a good job. We got the suspect. That was the main thing. And it's all, they could drop the ball, like you said. They're just trying to be safe.
Which you can't blame them for doing. Now, guys,
No.
we're going to continue with our reactions to this press conference, give you our theories, what we're thinking. Yeah. Everyone that's watching live, stay exactly where you are. I'm actually going to be clipping it right here for the replay. Before I do so, though, if you like what you've watched, whether you're watching live or on the replay, do make sure on your way out that you've subscribed to this channel, turn the notification bell to all. Like this video if you you're happy now that a suspect has been caught, comment down below your opinion, conspiracy theories, whatever's. Also, as well, you can always go one step further and join and become a member today for as little as $5.99 a month to get some more exclusive content from Andy himself. In addition to that, if you like what's coming out of mine and Lewis's gob, then you can head on over to youtube.com/nerd report, where Lewis lives over there. You can also head on to my little neck of the woods, youtube.com/Steph the Auto Nerd. I'm your nerdy alternative to news and pop culture stories served with a lot of sass and gobbiness these days. Oh my goodness. Last couple of days, I've been reporting on Meghan Markle. You want to know why? Oh my goodness, find out. All I'm going to say is today's video, yeah, I think she's taking the L when it comes to the most recent Netflix series. She ain't happy with it. Why? We'll find out on my channel. With that being said, like I said, everyone that's watching live, do not stay where you are. I'm just clipping this for YouTube. But for all those watching on the replay, here are some videos for you to click